San Fran 49er fan says, we knew Jimmy was done last year when it was dink and dunk. Then Mullens came in and throwing deep. Kyle doesn't trust Jimmy. It's done. You know, I did notice that
is
Kyle
interesting.
Definitely called games differently for the two quarterbacks. And it was like, why are you more aggressive with your backup? I don't get that. But
and I don't think that was fair to Mullens.
No,
I think he was set up for failure, and the kind of tape that he put together, I didn't think he would get a contract this year. The Eagles got him, but he's lucky with the kind of tape he put down. He just looked like a quarterback from college that was just slinging the ball.
Yeah, he looked rough. He did look better before. I want to say he ended up in a great spot. Better for him to leave the Niners. He's on the Eagles behind Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, who knows what he is.
He's going to be good, or he will bust and wash out the bottom of the CFL. He really will. Right.
So Mullens is actually in a position where he could be back on the field next year. Good for him.
Yeah, I have a friend who plays arena football, Cody Rice, and he is an Eagles fan, and they knew about Mullens, and they didn't judge him on that interception he threw in that game. They knew he had this stuff, but he made the same point. He said he was forced to press the ball.
Yes. I find it so interesting that really the game that Niner fans gave up on Nick Mullens was that Eagles game. He was dead to them after that. And where does he end up? Philly. Because Philly was like, well, you know what? Actually, there's a bigger picture here. Isn't that funny and ironic that Philly is the team that
they recognized he had a bad game, and they recognized he should have beaten us, and that even with our so-called superior quarterback on the field, this basically second-year quarterback came and almost whooped us.
Yep, that's right. And he battles. Nick Mullens is a competitor. Yep, he should have. So that's very interesting. Good for Nick. He's in a position where he might get back on the field.
Question this goes to the health of Deebo Samuel, Juszczyk, and Kittle.
Yes.
This dink and dunk puts a yak expectation on the player where they are. Jimmy does a lot of things. Okay, one of the things that I would tee off, this was before, concussion and helmet rules when I was playing, but I would tee off Superman style anytime they threw behind their receiver. Mm-hmm. Jimmy Garoppolo does not hit a lot of in-stride passes, not truly. He puts it about right here. Yeah. As if you're going this way and he puts it here, you'll be lucky if you can get it here. He never puts it out in front. It's very rare for him to do that. Yeah. So Kittle and Deebo Samuel are already being compromised. There are times when I see passes in the NFL, I'm like, why do you do that to your receivers?
Right.
Because the defensive backs are about to drill them. Do you think that Trey Lance, not being such as San Fran fans said, a dinker and a dunker, is going to actually help their health?
Well, it's possible, but I don't know what kind of accuracy he is. Let's see how he hits the dig over the middle. That's a tough one. Let's see how he throws the slant. Curious to see, but I don't know. I haven't seen enough.
Kittle needs some help there. If Kittle could have that taken out of his game, I think he goes a full season.
But I feel like with Jimmy, his whole throwing window was like, all right, quick outs, flat routes, slants, and digs. Like the dig was his most ambitious route. And now with Trey Lance, you're going to be seeing post routes from Ayuk, from Kittle. You're going to see corner routes. You're going to see fade routes. It's like all of a sudden the Niners are going to have a 3-point shot. Like they're going to space the floor. They're going to space.
Basically, the Niners were forced to play chess with Kyle Shanahan's system, and now they're going to play Go because now they have more pieces on the board and more flexibility.
Virtual reality in the NFL. And I'd like to get your take. It seems to me this is something that Stanford, I think, football does. But, the whole idea of developing quarterbacks is the most important position. The NFL does not do a good job of developing the position. It's hard to develop. You need reps. To get reps, you need wide receivers running. You need offensive linemen blocking. You need people risking their bodies and doing physical exertion. There's a limit. There's a limit of so much you can do. With virtual reality, theoretically, it's unlimited. You could see all the coverages. You could get all the different looks in the pocket. Why do you think this has a future in the NFL?
So I have some interesting insight into this, Rick. Great question. So when I was in the Navy the first time, I was a midshipman. I was actually training to be a fighter pilot in my first career. And the Canadian Army, and we laughed about it at the time, they came out with America's Army. It was an online first-person shooter game, which they used for actually training their infantry. So they did virtual reality training, and so I had to take a look at it because I did try it out. We did some correspondence with the Canadian Army. I was assigned to this captain over there, really nice guy, and so I took a look at it. Here's what it gave me, and I know what you're talking about for football as well. It's going to be the same thing. You can have a piece of paper with all your strategy as an infantryman or as a football player, whatever, and you can go note by note what to expect. But the visual input of a notepad out in front of you where you are having to basically go through your maneuvers, or in this case, analyze defensive schemes. It's basically what you see in game time. That's what it's for. It should not take the place to any degree of practice.
Right.
But what it does, you know how Richard Sherman says he watches a lot of tape? Imagine being able to basically watch tape this way, where you're actually on the tape
field
at the same time.
Right. So like when Mike McGlinchey is preparing for his upcoming defensive end opponent, instead of watching him from the all 22 angle, he's on the field looking at him. So
when I train to fight, right? And let's just, one of my favorite guys to fight is this guy from France. He's 6'4". He has a lot of reach on me. He weighs 247 pounds. He's a bigger guy, but he's actually one of the smallest guys I fight, but he's one of the tallest guys I fight. And one of the things that, like, I will relate this to this. One of the things that I can do to myself, I can go through my notes and say, all right, he favors his right hand. He's right-handed. He drags his right knee more. He puts too much. So I can go through that. But when you get shoved or you see it visually in your face, it resonates in your head. And virtual reality training is supposed to do that. It's supposed to trigger your receptors to basically program you for the input of what you see visually. And visual learning is actually the easiest to memorize. Some people are good with books, but people say they are a visual learner. Virtual training would do that. I don't know if it would work for Richard Sherman. I think he's so good at watching tape on his own and his notes, but for the average person, I think this is a great idea.
But it's also a combination of visual and, like, they call it kinesthetic, like actually doing it. You know what I mean? You're not just looking at
the practice, the physical part. But it's one of those things where visual, like if somebody says, I'm about to take a right hook, but I see it virtually that it's coming from there, I'll flinch.
Yeah.
I won't just read it. Oh, okay.
Right. Okay.
I will actually flinch. Yeah. Exactly. And you know what I'll do? I will literally do that. I will, okay, got this. Got this. Right. And I will just repeat that motion. I think with this, it will help your timing. Paper doesn't help with your timing. Watching another player go up against another player doesn't help your timing. All it does is teach you technique and what to expect. This works on your timing. Right. And when Mike McGlinchey, who JJ Watt's going to say hello to him again this year. Mike McGlinchey, he remembers him, but if he does virtual training, he will probably have a first step in mind because JJ Watt's got some great technique. This would help.
Yeah, and they talk about visualization in sports. This would help. They talk about getting mental reps in football. These are mental reps. So it seems to me that
than batting practice, I think.
Yeah, seems to me that the sooner the NFL, the sooner a team goes all in with virtual reality training, that would be such a big advantage over the rest of the league because now you have unlimited training time. You can send these players home and say safe. No one's going to get hurt, and some of these players can spend as much time as they spend. Hey, don't play Madden. Play this. Don't play whatever game you're going to play on Xbox. Play this. That would be really cool. Seems like you get a big edge here.
Yeah, doing this is not going to help your football because you're focused on the controls. But in virtual reality, if you're just you guys have heard of shadow boxing, I'm sure. Yeah. This is shadow boxing.
Yeah, shadow boxing for the
Great question, Rick.
Great question, Rick. All right, Sebastian says defense needs to account for Lance and the run game plus Yak. They cut Jimmy. They could improve the team even more. Teams are going to have headaches. Yes, this is the vision.
Yeah, I disagree with nothing there.
Yeah, this is the future. This is what needs to come soon as possible.
Sebastian. That was good.